is Eyewitness News.
The last 2 weeks, Vicki and I and our children have lived during a period of absolute political terrorism.
And that's an outrageous lie to say that we're in any way that we were, orchestrated that or made any contacts or any inquiries.
But Rudy Perpich is himself the supreme liar, and he will do anything to stay in office.
The fur flies tonight in the race for Minnesota governor. Good evening, I'm Mark Sapelsa.
And I'm Angela Storr. It started this morning with allegations of sexual misconduct by IR candidate John Grunseth. By nightfall, both camps had come under fire, and at this hour, it's unclear if either candidate's made a direct hit.
Tom Garrison has the first of two reports on what triggered this barrage of political warfare.
This is John Grunseth's former home in Hastings, Minnesota, where a 4th of July party was held poolside in 1981. A party that some say was a tale of drinking, nudity, and harassment. Grunseth's oldest daughter, Nina, seen here last week, was present at that party 9 years ago. She was just 14 at the time. Two other teenage girls, now grown, have recently signed sworn statements alleging that not only were the minors given beer, but according to Leanne Nelson, quote, John Grunseth's speech was slurred. He appeared to be intoxicated. And, says Leanne, Grunseth encouraged everyone to take off their swimming suits. She did not. Neither did Elizabeth Moulet, who says in her affidavit a naked Grunseth chased her. She says, quote, at one point he cornered me in the pool. I tried to swim by, but he blocked me in. He tried to pull my bathing suit strap down and attempted to grab my breast, but missed. But Nina Grunseth emphatically denies her friend's version of events.
I remember that night and nothing like this occurred.
Her father categorically denies all the accusations and accuses DFL Governor Perpich of being behind the leaks. There is this recorded phone conversation between Nina Grunseth and Leanne Nelson, one of the women implicating Nina's father. Nina is heard asking whether DFL lawyers are behind the disclosures.
So are the lawyers just sort of taking care of it? Well, that's just something a lot of us.
A short time later, Leanne talks about her parents' role, both longtime DFL activists.
That's a good reason to not want your father to be governor.
The campaign claims in addition that Grunseth was being politically blackmailed by someone to drop out of the race, and they want a federal investigation. But the fact is there are other witnesses, like this band member who played at the Grunseth party in 1981, who clearly recalls nudity, even if he can't say for sure Grunseth was there.
The impression that I got was it was people who maybe drank too much, and that they kind of crossed, because of alcohol, they kind of crossed a common sense boundary.
So by the end of today's press conference, Grunseth's categorical denial was altered to not include the band member accounts.
Tom, I'm not saying that members of the band fabricated anything at all. Again, from all that we know, they came back long after I had gone to bed.
So the explanation tonight is that if there were teenage girls and adult males swimming nude in Grunseth's swimming pool, he was upstairs asleep at the time and heard nothing more about that party until 9 years later. Whether Minnesota voters will accept that explanation is an open question. The effort now is to shift blame on Rudy Perpich for the disclosures, and Jackie Renner has more on that story.
Rudy Perpich thinks most Minnesotans are shocked by the allegations against his opponent. But over and over today, he denied he stirred up the story of Grunseth swimming nude with teenagers.
I had no contacts with any of those people. What? I mean, that's ridiculous and bizarre to think for 1 minute I had anything to do with that or any other rumor or anything else that comes around.
But on the campaign trail, Perpich has raised the question of character before. He's made an issue of Grunseth's property taxes and child support payments. And now Grunseth insists there's circumstantial evidence that Perpich is the driving force behind the new allegations.
Rudy Perpich and his campaign have orchestrated this every step of the way. These are lies. Rudy Perpich knows they are lies, but Rudy Perpich is himself the supreme liar.
Grunseth says several factors point to Perpich's involvement. The parents of Leanne Nelson, one of the women making the allegations, are DFL activists. And Nelson's attorney, Bob Tennyson, is a former DFL state senator who's contributed to past Perpich campaigns. But Perpich insists he can't remember the last time he talked to Tennyson. And aside from his denials, he treated the whole subject rather delicately.
It's a tragedy all the way around. Absolute tragedy. Well, I think you're aware. It's tragic to the families.
John Grunseth maintains that on the day President Bush came to town, Rudy Perpich had a meeting here at the governor's mansion. a meeting in which he discussed how to smear John Grunseth. The governor says he'd have to check his schedule to see if he had any meetings that day, but he also scoffed at the suggestion. Jackie Renner, Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
The candidates would have come face-to-face for the first time on October 22nd, but Perpich put that debate on hold until Grunseth reveals his personal finance data.
The latest KSTP Star Tribune Minnesota poll ended last night, just hours before voters learned of the allegations.
But as Mike Binkley found out in surveying the poll, there had already been a shift in voter preference since September. He joins us live from the newsroom with the results. Mike?
Well, obviously these allegations will have a significant new impact on public opinion and on future polls. But this one, taken just last week, showed Governor Perpich already picking up momentum.
Grunseth just last month had taken a slight 3 percentage point lead over Perpich. But according to the latest poll, if the election were held even this past weekend, before the accusations against Grunseth, Perpich would win fairly comfortably. Perpich is the choice of 51% of the likely voters polled, while Grunseth dropped to 42%.
Shame on you, Rudy Perpich.
Grunseth's daughter and the Grunseth campaign as a whole have accused Perpich of negative campaigning. Those who've seen both candidates' ads seem to agree. 39% approve of Perpich's campaign style, 55% disapprove. Grunseth was viewed more positively, with the approval of 60% for his campaign style, but again, it is Perpich showing momentum. There was also a question in this latest poll to discover whether there really is a large anybody but Rudy sentiment. We asked, do you agree or disagree with the following statement? I could vote for just about any candidate but Rudy Perpich. 25% agreed, 71% disagreed. And as for the governor's job performance, approval has risen about the same rate as his candidacy. Last month, only half the people polled approved of the way he was handling the job. That was up to 54% in the latest poll.
Now, the Minnesota poll researchers interviewed 1,003 adults October 8th through the 14th. The sampling error is plus or minus 3.1 percentage points. Mark, Angela?
Mike, it's kind of interesting that even though the voters in the poll considered Perpich's style somewhat negative with the campaign, he was gaining.
Yeah, it would seem to indicate Minnesotans aren't entirely turned off by negative campaigning.
We'll have to see now. Well, before the allegations, John Grunseth did find some widespread political support in his quest to become Minnesota's next governor. As Inga Hammond tells us tonight, those in office are shying away from this controversy while party leaders are diving into it.
Independent Republican State Party Chairman Robert Weinholzer believes the DFL party is behind the allegations against Grunseth.
If they're false, like we believe they are, this is going to totally backfire on the DFL, and just not Governor Perpich. The DFL is a part of this.
The initiative for this story did not come from the DFL, did not come from Governor Perpich, and it will not backfire as a result on anybody.
Otis says there is no evidence the DFL had anything to do with the allegations, but Vice President Dan Quayle disagrees. Just last week, he came to Rochester to campaign for Grunseth, and today a spokesperson from his office told us he believes the allegations are politically inspired. Just less than a month ago, President Bush came to Minneapolis to drum up support for Grunseth, but when asked today if Mr. Bush still supports the gubernatorial candidate, the White House would only say no comment. Rudy Boschwitz is not in Minnesota, he's in Washington, where according to his staff, he's working on the budget. But a spokesperson for the senator did tell us they supported Grunseth when he won the primary and have no reason to believe anything's changed. And Senator Dave Durenberger, the object of Senate ethics hearings last summer, has chosen not to comment on the allegations against his fellow Republican. Inga Hammond, Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
The governor's race is the hot topic from Washington, D.C. to the Twin Cities streets. So tonight we caught up with some Minnesotans and got their views about attacks and counterattacks that have jolted this year's governor's race.
I really don't believe in trying to smear someone down just for a vote.
I think that's just a personal issue that they're trying to make him look bad.
So I think the issues are more significant to me than people's own personal lifestyles.
I am not voting for him, so it won't really change my opinion, but maybe it would if I was.
It would sway my vote against Perpich because it's just, I don't think it's right. I think the issues should be at the center of the campaign.
These allegations come forth only 3 weeks before Election Day. What will the impact be going into November 6th? Eyewitness News commentator George Latimer joins us with some perspective now. George, if you were running the Grunseth campaign, what would your strategy be from here?
Well, pretty clearly John Grunseth has to go public and be as clear as he can be to Minnesotans about exactly what the problem is. You ought to listen to the two young people just interviewed. We have a likely recession coming on. In the Middle East, we have a risk of war. We have major problems in child care in the state of Minnesota, and the two major candidates for governor are insulting each other. Those two young people were being interviewed, and they said, we think they ought to be talking about the issues. Maybe John Grunstedt ought to try that as well.
Well, obviously, these have taken the headlines, and this is what everyone's talking about right now. Do you think that Grunstedt will be able to weather this storm, or will he be eventually forced to pull out of this race?
Well, John Grunstedt has to prove a negative, and that's not going to be very easy. I don't think he's going to succeed in turning it all towards someone else having caused it, because somewhere along the line he's got to explain exactly what did occur, what he's responsible for and what he's not responsible for, and Minnesotans have an obligation to pay attention to that.
How does the Perpich campaign suffer in the wake of all this?
I think we're all going to suffer from this. With the problems that we have, I see cynicism really deepening, and I think we're all going to be hurt by it. Undoubtedly, however, the polls are probably reflective, and I think in the short term, and only 3 weeks left, John Grunstedt is deeply damaged right now politically.
George, this whole issue of character, digging into a candidate's past, when do you think it goes too far?
Well, I cannot answer that tonight in the seconds that we have left, but it's very obvious to me that we're driving more and more good people out of politics, and we're making it a very threatening kind of environment instead of an ennobling one.
Thank you, George, for your comments this evening.
News tonight that Vice President Dan Quayle will not be visiting Minnesota this week to rally campaign funds for U.S. Representative Arlen Stanglin. Quayle is staying in Washington this week to deal with the budget crisis. Stanglin's campaign headquarters in Moorhead say he will try to reschedule the fundraisers. Stanglin is locked in a close race with DFLer Colin Peterson. President Bush is on the campaign trail tonight.
Even though this is the day Iraq had ordered him to stand trial. Ahead, President Bush also has a few words for Saddam Hussein and dubs the Iraqi leader with a title.
Tonight, weather and smoke are being blamed for a huge chain reaction in this Louisiana interstate.
Viking reaction to their performance in Philadelphia tonight against the Eagles. It's all coming up in sports.
Nobody has a better selection of quality tools and building materials than Knox. Upgrade home wiring with Leviton Decora switches, outlets, and dimmers. Save 25% at Knox. Safeguard your home with a motion sensor floodlight by Heath Zenith. Now just $16.99. We've got everything you need to do the job right. Knox, the Project Center.
Now, during the Mazda fall clearance, you can save over $1,000 on a 1990 Mazda MPV. To make room for the 91s, every 90's got to go. Get the most trouble-free minivan in America now, and choose from special option packages that can save you up to $1,246 on top of your Mazda dealer's best deal. How good can the deals get? See your Mazda dealer now during the Mazda fall clearance.
At your local Mazda dealer now.
Hey, got a second? Can you spot your beer?
Yeah, that one there. On the left. That's...
This is the color of a leading beer 10 years ago, and this is the very same brand today.
Wow. Uh-oh.
These beer drinkers are finding their beer is lighter than it used to be.
Why change it? It's not broke. Don't fix it.
Now look at Coors Extra Gold. Slow brewed for that real beer flavor and real beer color. The way beer was meant to be. So what do you think?
Can I drink it now?
Coors Extra Gold. No doubt about it. Beer is back.
It's got extra gold in it.
If building is in your plans, think D&W Construction. D&W is a versatile builder that can custom design your building project. From custom engineered Lester buildings for general storage, livestock confinement, industrial and retail, to custom designed conventional or log homes, D&W has the answers to your building needs. Call D&W for stylish, low-maintenance Midland garage doors for residential or commercial application, or vacuum power on tap with Rushmore's built-in central vacuum system. Call D&W Construction. We're quality first at 612-834-2275.
Plymouth police tonight are investigating a murder.
And they've already arrested a suspect. When police arrived at 2645 Magnolia Avenue, they were met by the homeowner, Roy Oman, who led officers to the bedroom. There, police found Oman's wife, Virginia, dead. Before police left, they arrested Mr. Oman and booked him on homicide charges. No other details are available.
President Bush hit the campaign trail. He's stumping hard for Republicans in Texas, but took time on the soapbox to bash Saddam Hussein. Bush compared the brutal pillage of Kuwait to war crimes of Nazi Germany.
Hitler revisited. But remember, when Hitler's war ended, there were the Nuremberg trials.
The president made it clear U.S. troops are in place and ready, but he gave no signal of an immediate military action. Saddam Hussein greeted one of the few world leaders who hasn't turned on him. As PLO leader Yasser Arafat met Saddam one-on-one, there was a military demonstration in the streets of Baghdad. Among the Iraqi army units are women and other soldiers in gas masks. And in Jordan, a demonstration to remember the Palestinians killed in Jerusalem last week turned into an anti-U.S. pro-Saddam rally at this football stadium.
For troops in the Mideast, word tonight their homecoming will not necessarily be soon. Defense Secretary Dick Cheney says troops will stay as long as the Saudis want us, as long as it takes to get the job done. The Soviet press says Saddam Hussein might remove his troops from Kuwait in exchange for some Kuwaiti territory on the Gulf. Iraq's information minister says the report is not true. And while U.S. troops listen to all the rhetoric, they continue to do their drills in the hot Saudi sun, where today it was 93 degrees. A little different weather situation back in the States that caused a 25-car pileup. You can barely see all the cars involved in this accident in New Orleans, and that's the point of the story. Heavy fog and smoke from a nearby brush fire are to blame for the series of rear-enders that had 14 people treated for injuries. State troopers were even forced to guide emergency vehicles to the scene.
Wow. Completely different story here in the Twin Cities with the weather.
There are some people you just can't please, though. These firefighters are hoping for a fiery forecast to forget about fall.
Hey, Dave, we're used to the hot stuff. Are we going to get some more weather this week?
Tomorrow's forecast might spark your interest. Dave Dahl will explain why next.
There was Barney, Billy, Scooter, and me. We grew up on the corner of Jefferson and Palmer. And if you lived there then, you lived, breathed, swore at, and by cars. The more buck-toothed and hole-riddled, the better. We grew up some, went away, but we came back to build Mustangs, Corvettes, and GTOs, among other things. It was the 60s, and of all the things we could be thinking about, we still mostly just thought about cars. Life was good, work was good, but then the oil dried up. And it seemed like overnight something happened to the way we built cars. I got frustrated. Then I decided to go to work for a company called Saturn and build cars again, but in a brand new way. There were some things I knew I'd miss, but there were certain things I wanted to remember.
Still to come on Eyewitness News after sports, it's a glam slam. Discover why Prince thinks it's the place to party.
You've waited all year, and now's your last chance for Ford's 1990 clear out, because your Ford dealer has been given huge factory-to-dealer incentives that can save you thousands on 1990 cars and trucks. Right now, save big on America's best sellers. Ford Taurus, Tempo, Escort, Probe, Ranger, F-Series, Bronco, Aerostar. With huge factory-to-dealer incentives, they're all priced to move and move fast. Now is the time. Great deals on great Ford. It's the last days of the 1990 clear-out. Only at your local Ford dealer.
Rudy Perpich, your personal attacks calling John Grunseth a bad father are the dirtiest politics Minnesota has ever seen. They're a smear and untrue. I know because John Grunseth is my dad. Our family business is our business and nobody else's. Your crude attempt to smear my father, a great father, is a sad testament to how low you will go to get a vote. Shame on you, Rudy Perpich. You owe our family and all of Minnesota an apology.
This local update is sponsored by Steinberg Chevrolet Cadillac Mazda Geo, serving central Minnesota since 1917.
Now, live, this is 42 Eyewitness News with Karen Shaler.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this late update. The new recycling center in Kandiyohi County is one step closer to reopening. After a year of construction work, groundbreaking ceremonies took place today on the area that will expand the West Central Industries' capacity to recycle county waste. The state presented a check to the county for $750,000, a grant totaling half the cost of the expansion.
Most counties around here, I guess, are kind of strapped with our levy limits and so forth, and so we needed some assistance.
By 1993, the state has mandated 25% of every county's waste be recycled.
This new facility will allow this region to become a leader in recyclable marketing and processing of those materials so that we can recover the resources.
The county applied for the grant 2 years ago. Starting next year, St. John's University will be getting a new president. For the last 9 years, Father Hilary Timish has been in charge of running the university. Timish announced last week that it's time for a new president.
That was about right in my life, and I think it's time for a change in the institution too. I think that there's an advantage every so often in having younger people step into leadership positions.
Timish will finish out this school year as president and will then go back to teaching English next fall.
I taught for about 25 years at St. John's before I started a number of administrative appointments back in the late 70s. And I always enjoyed teaching and hope that I've still got some teaching skills. We'll see.
St. John's Board of Regents will be choosing the next president. So far, the candidates' names haven't been released. Now for a look at our local weather, here's Dave Dahl.
Here's your updated 42-43 forecast for tonight. A few clouds rolled through the southern part of the state through the afternoon. Partly sunny skies for most of our viewing area. Later on tonight, though, we've seen those clouds thicken up a little bit. A little bit of light shower activity through the central part of Minnesota and some scattered light showers along the southern border of Minnesota, northern part of Iowa. Most of that activity will continue to scoot eastward. However, the clouds should continue to thicken up. We're only expecting partly sunny skies during the daytime hours tomorrow. High temperatures in the 50s throughout the northern part of Minnesota and the northern part of North Dakota. 60s, though, for much of our viewing area as the warm air starts to push northward. Temperatures in the 70s as close as southwestern South Dakota. And as that warmth tries to push up into the cooler air, scattered showers are expected all the way from the central parts of the Plains states and the central part of the Mississippi Valley through much of Iowa and up into central North and South Dakota. We could get some scattered light showers, it looks like, into the western part of our state by late tomorrow afternoon. Maybe some thunderstorms developing by tomorrow night. This is a fairly powerful system and it has a lot of cold air behind it. Could be some snow in northwestern Minnesota by late Wednesday night. Outside right now here in Alexandria, this late hour, cloudy skies, 48 for our temp. Our current dew point is at 32, 54% for the relative humidity, a south breeze at 12. And the barometric pressure rising at 29.93 inches with those cloudy skies. Temperatures should be hanging in there for the next several hours. Not quite as cool tonight, 38 to 42. That's if we get some breaks in the cloud cover. South winds at about 5 to 15. For tomorrow, we're going to call it partly sunny. As the high clouds thicken up a little bit, high temperatures warming up 60 to 65. Those south winds increasing at about 10 to 15. Then the roller coaster in temps. Our temps dive, highs only in the 40s by Thursday. As I said, maybe late Wednesday night and Thursday, some light snow in northwest.
That's our news tonight. Thank you for joining us. Now back to KSTP.
Dear Walgreens, I'd like to tell you about my experience. I was visiting from out of state when my wife got seriously ill. She required numerous medications, so I appreciate the low prices at Walgreens. And I'd like to thank your pharmacists. They were very considerate. Being 1,100 miles from home made Walgreens service that much sweeter.
Great Halloween parties begin at Walgreens. Candy, party decorations, masks, costumes, makeup. Everything you need for Halloween fun now at Walgreens.
Well, sure, everyone running for governor now claims to be an environmentalist, but it's actions that count, not words. Since 1983, Minnesota's enacted the nation's first and toughest acid rain law, the first constitutionally created environmental trust fund, one that we're very proud of, the first wildlife and wetlands protection law, a very tough hazardous waste cleanup program, and strong groundwater protection. We're not protecting the environment just for ourselves. We're protecting it for our children and our grandchildren.
In the 90s, conservatism will be dominant.
Lighten up.
Fun will become the exclusive province of the rich.
With a Pontiac Sunbird, you can afford fun. It gets great mileage, and Sunbird doesn't cost a lot either.
The market for exciting things will be quite bearish.
Bullish. You can have it all in a Sunbird.
Most good things don't come easy, but here's a great one that does. Maximum protection. Think about it. Then don't stop short of the peak.
Don't stop short of the peak. No, don't stop short of the peak.
Your representative, Claire Nelson, has served you well for 4 years in District 11B. On November 6th, re-elect State Representative Claire Nelson. Leadership and experience working for you.
In tonight's Eyewitness News Market Survey for Monday, the Dow Jones Industrial Averages closed at 2416.34. That's up 18.32 points.
Should we pause just a moment? Is this one of those games?
Moment of silence.
One of those deals where, like, did this happen or what?
It happened.
I don't know what's making me feel more ill, my head cold or that game.
Little aspirin will do that, but the other one, boy.
No, more than aspirin.
Get the team.
Eagles didn't win tonight's game. The Vikes lost it. And I think in doing so, Minnesota proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that they aren't a mediocre football team. They are a terrible football team. The Vikes were on their way to winning tonight, coming from behind, little razzle-dazzle. Herschel flea flicks to Gannon to Chris Carter, 42 yards and the touchdown, and the Vikes trailed 9-7. Almost looked like it was going to be a Hollywood kind of night for the former Eagle Chris Carter. Early second, Gannon goes deep, and Carter takes it the rest of the way himself. 78 yards for the score, and Minnesota would up their lead to 21-9 at the half. Yeah, it's like a bad dream, like Mark said. Herschel Walker picked a bad night to mess up. National television audience watched him fumble 3 times. 2 of them counted. This one here didn't help on the kickoff, and it led to a Philly field goal. The Eagles also benefited from a few lucky bounces. Randall Cunningham nearly picked off by Michael Brim, but Calvin Williams tipped the ball in the air right to Fred Barnett. Yeah, Dan Deerdorf, unbelievable. 24-22 Vikes. Minnesota was merely trying to run out the clock, and maybe that was their mistake. Rich Gannon fumbles. The Eagles able to capitalize on this turnover, and the rest was all downhill. A last-ditch Minnesota effort ended in another interception, so did the Vikes. The Eagles win it 32-24, and we are working on reaction from Philadelphia. We hope to have it to you in this newscast. Let's get on with things right now to Gopher basketball. Familiar sights and sounds over at the barn today as practice began. Day one saw a lot of new faces don the maroon and gold, and Coach Clem Haskins really finds himself dealing with an unknown commodity compared to last year's squad. With names like Burton and Coffey and Newbern gone, it's going to be a big adjustment. Just ask Kevin Lynch.
It's going to be really different. It's you play with these guys, you learn how each other plays, and we really came together the last 2 years, and it really ended up being a lot of fun. So it's definitely going to be an adjustment. Passing to Martin instead of Burton or whatever. So it'll be definitely a strange feeling.
Okay, we have time to flash a couple more Channel 5 fish picks your way this evening or morning, whatever it is. Keep them coming, folks. 2 beautiful-looking muskies caught by one angler tonight, Rich Neeson of North Oaks. That there is a 50-inch long, 30-pound muskie caught recently in northwest Wisconsin. Rich wouldn't disclose the lake. Good anglers seldom do. Here's another muskie caught by Rich the same day. That's his dad holding it on the gaff. This fish 50 inches long and 29 pounds. If you'd like to send me a fish pick of your own, make a duplicate copy of it because I can't return them to you. Mail it to Channel 5 Fish Picks, KSTP, 3415 University Avenue, St. Paul, and we'll do our very best to see that that makes our airwaves. Well, as I mentioned, we have a reaction now from Philadelphia on a bitterly disappointing loss, and Rob Lear was Mike's side postgame.
Well, that's all part of football. You can be winning with 2 minutes left or 4 minutes left, and things could happen, and it had, and we end up losing the game.
Can you believe it?
But still, it's not sitting here, but, I got to give it credit to them, man. They came up with big plays. They caused fumbles, interceptions, and made plays when they had to in their defensive unit, and they beat us.
Can we say it's going to be a long season yet?
I think it already has been.
Amen.
Thanks. Finally, it's being dubbed the hottest nightclub between here and heaven.
Tonight, a sneak peek at the place the Prince of Pop hopes Minnesotans will be making their moves.
Time to buy a 1990.
It's Anderson Homes 1990 closeout sale. Over 45 models featuring Rolla Home, Friendship, and Wisconsin Modular Homes. Andersons are offering closeouts on all homes with double wides for just $27,900, 10% down, only $301 per month. 14 by 70 3-bedroom homes at $16,900 with 10% down, only $182.29 per month. FHA, VA, and conventional rates to qualified buyers. All homes have free setup and delivery. Call Anderson Homes in Sabika for their 1990 closeout sale.
King of the Road. Everyone's a winner at Douglas Furniture with 50% off and a chance at 100% refund. Receive half off a day of furniture purchased during October, and if that day's sales is closest to the average day sales for October, your furniture will be absolutely free. Pick your lucky day in October to shop Douglas Furniture. You may be a 100% refund winner. All merchandise half price plus a 100% refund opportunity during October only at Douglas Furniture, south of Kmart, west of the mall, Alexandria.
Show that asks the question.
Are you going to make a lot of faces?
The only show in America where the hosts make fun of their producer, but they really like each other. Well, most of the time. And on the next Live, one of the most trustworthy men in America, the founding father of TV news, Walter Cronkite. And we'll go to the movies with Leonard Maltin and see what's hot and what's not.
See Regis and Kathy Lee tomorrow afternoon at 4 here on Channel 5.
Okay, so your Viking numbers didn't work out. How about these? 615 in the Minnesota Daily 3. Match them and you're a winner. And don't forget, you can watch them right after they're drawn nightly here on Channel 5 at 629.
In the upcoming movie Graffiti Bridge, you'll be able to see a bar called Glam Slam.
Well, tonight, the real thing is open in the Twin Cities, downtown Minneapolis, and Tour de France winner Greg LeMond. Among those invited to see the new bar and entertaining them tonight, Prince's keyboard player Rosie Gaines. It's invitation only tonight. Sorry, Ange. You and I are stuck here. But for $15, you can check out the place tomorrow night. Cover charge will change with each band performing at the club. And for the 8 or 9 of you left, I asked the question, will Glam Slam be a hit?
Partygoers tonight seem to think so. As we make tracks, we leave you tonight with a look at Minnesotans making the moves to the Twin Cities' newest beat.
In 1990, the Nobel Committee wants to honor Michael Gorbachev for his many and decisive contributions. The greater openness he has brought about in Soviet society has also helped promote international trust.
But for all his achievements on the international scene, the problems he faces at home seem insurmountable.
He wouldn't deserve an economic prize.
People are so disgruntled, so unhappy about the internal developments. His Nobel Prize will not help at all.
We'll take a closer look at Mikhail Gorbachev's record tonight.
This is ABC News Nightline. Reporting from Washington with the latest on the Gulf crisis, Sam Donaldson.
Iraq today denied weekend reports it might be willing to withdraw from Kuwait. Kuwait is now part of Iraq forever, even if it means war, said a government official. Secretary of Defense Cheney, on his way to a visit to Moscow, said the United States has the will to maintain troops in Saudi Arabia for years if that is what it takes. And in Moscow, Soviet Foreign Minister Shevardnadze told Parliament the Kremlin has no plans to send troops of its own to join the Gulf's multinational force. Shevardnadze said if that changes, Parliament's approval will be sought first. Which brings us to our main topic tonight, the awarding of the Nobel Peace Prize to Soviet President Gorbachev. Few would argue that Gorbachev has not been instrumental in bringing democratic changes to his country and its former satellite nations. But as Jim Laurie reports from Moscow, that has not been enough to ensure peace, and certainly not prosperity, in the Soviet Union.
Mikhail Gorbachev today got an international seal of approval on 5 years of trying to restructure Soviet foreign policy. But for many average Russians, it was an irrelevant award as they struggled with steadily worsening living conditions. Gorbachev told reporters his foreign policies stood for the realization here that the world, tired of Cold War and an arms race, was ripe for change. But inside the Russian parliament today, Gorbachev's policies were denounced by a military deputy who charged the Soviet leader had merely promoted unwise concessions. And while Gorbachev said the Nobel Prize would help him reform